Alright, hello all. I'm sorry that I can't be there with you working through this, but this should actually work out. Okay, so I am looking at the thing called Practice Workbook. It's in week 7, it's at the very bottom. Actually, why do I need to explain that? Because if you clicked on this link to see this video, then you've already found it. Alright, get my act together. So I'm looking at this Excel workbook here. So I'm going to just go through a lot of things. I'm going to go pretty quick. You get a pause button, you can rewind. This is going to be long, and that's not so great. But all right, so starting off looking at a sheet called if demo. So this is the if function. So we want to sell in J2, which will display great job if the total score was under 280. Otherwise, display maybe next year. So like I said, that's going to be formulas, it's going to be logical, that's going to be if. Now, the question you got to ask yourself is what's the determining cell? So for this first golfer, the determining cell is I2. So I say I2 is under 280. So inequality, like we saw last time. Then I write great job. Notice that as soon as I click off of it, the quotes come. So you don't really need to type the quotes. I actually think you probably shouldn't, because you're kind of just asking for trouble if you do. And this is a good example of when you can double click the fill handle to auto-complete the range. Notice that it also overflows column J, so it's probably a good idea to widen column J by and I did that by clicking or double clicking on the area between column J and column K. So that's an if function. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it because you saw it, and if you want to just rewind the video and pause it sitting on a screen where it shows something like that. Some of you are probably new to the whole YouTube video thing. They're a great tool. You can sit here and look at that formula, or you can take what you have and kind of compare it with what I have up here in the formula bar. So if you haven't used YouTube videos before, this is why I talk about them in class, because they're really helpful way to do this. It's just way more efficient than anything I could ever do in class, really. Alright, so the next one. This is very similar, but this is your turn. This one's kind of a weird one because it has percents in it, it's weird. Alright, so I want to put a formula in D2, which is play pass or fail if the grade was over 70%. So, formulas tab, logical, if, figure out what cell I want to look at. I want to look at that cell. If that cell is greater than 70%, you kind of do need to put the percent sign there. You could do 0.7, that would work, but as I've talked about before, there's just not a lot of, there's no reason to make it harder than it needs to be. And then pass, fail are simply my messages. And if I fill it, pass, fail, you can kind of see it happening right there. I don't look at all of them. I just look at the first one usually on an if, and I go, is that right? Yeah, that person did pass. And then I just make sure that they're not all passes or not all fails, because sometimes if you really butcher up the inequality, they'll all be pass or all be fail. I don't know either. Know what I mean by that or not? So I've done a couple ifs. That's kind of the scary part of this, in my opinion. Next, conditional formatting. So this is very similar to something we did the other day. Very similar. So I'm going to start off by filling in some. Those are just your big 5. So I'm going to head to Home tab. That's the highest value. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. If you click the wrong thing, you should press Escape. Alright, so I'm doing a max of that range. Just a big old click and drag. You could type it in if you want to. You can see the formula right there. Next, I'm going to do a min. And you see, I can go fast in these YouTube videos because you have a pause button. And it just does not work well uploading a gigantic video to YouTube. Earlier this morning, YouTube wasn't even letting me upload videos, and if that's the case, I have no idea how this is going to work. So same range over and over again. The next thing is we're doing an if over here, so greater than 50,000, yes, no, that's what we're looking at. So I'm going to head over to formulas, logical, if that thing is greater than 50,000, don't put a comma in there, I'm warning you. So it's just yes, no, based on whether that value is greater than 50,000. That is greater than 50,000. I can double click the fill handle to complete the range. And so I say first one's good, that one's below 50,000. At that point, I've gone as far as I need to go. And again, 3 signs conditional formatting. So when conditional formatting is the case, you're going to select the range first. Head over to conditional formatting, which is in the home tab. Conditional formatting, that's an icon set. And we're doing 3 signs, which is that one. If this sheet looks familiar, it should look familiar. We did this exact sheet a couple days ago. Most of what's in this workbook is just, it's the same kind of exercises. Some of them are literally the same. It's just a collection, which I thought was pretty representative of what we've covered in Excel. We do have a quiz today, so right, I'm just kind of recapping everything. So I'm not trying to explain things for the first time. If it's the first time you've seen conditional formatting, then it probably means you missed a big chunk of last week. All right, now we're going to talk about charts for a minute. So insert a 3D pie chart below that will represent the totals for each item. All right, those are items. Those are totals. That's my data. I held down Control to get non-adjacent ranges. Don't hold down Shift. It's not the same thing. All right, so that's my range. So insert tab, pie chart, 3D pie chart. There you go. That's it. That's your default pie chart. Notice that's not a good title. Who cares? I'm not asking about it. Another one. So I just want you to practice the core skill. Formatting them is one thing, just creating the chart's another. So 3D column chart, which represents January, March, and May figures for each item. There's January, there's March, there's May, there's my labels. I insert. So a 3D column chart is technically that one right there. I said in class I don't really care what one of these you do, because I don't. They all tell a similar story. That's technically a 3D column chart, but I kind of like that one, so whatever you want. If you want to move it around, you can. Reasonable chart, those labels are good, those labels are good. Right, all the labels are good. And then another one here, charts practice. This is a big mess, and this one actually has answers embedded in it because it's messy enough. That's probably a good idea. But so I'll start with one. This is going to be a huge mess. There's going to be a bunch of charts here. So use the above data to create a 3D pie chart which represents the sales for all 12 months. So those are sales, and those are my labels. Notice you could grab those in one big swipe. Oftentimes I give you non-adjacent ranges just so you can practice that control, but there's no reason really not to just grab one big swipe. And now we're doing a 3D pie chart. And you can see that looks kind of weird, but you just normally you don't have that many slices in a pie chart. But yeah, that's a reasonable pie chart. Move it around wherever you want to move it. Next, using the data above, create a 3D clustered bar chart that shows details the dollar volume for each month. So there's dollar volume. So here you could grab that data if I wanted to be consistent with what I did a minute ago. There's no harm in grabbing an extra cell. It really doesn't matter here. I actually am inclined to grab that stuff in those rows, but it doesn't actually matter. So clustered bar chart. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm, like I said, not a great day today. Since it's a bar chart, you actually do need to get that stuff. So 3D clustered. What's that one called? 3D. Yeah, 3D. I don't do these obscure charts that often. So that's a reasonable chart. Good labels. Good labels. It's kind of weird looking, but that's what it is. That's a 3D clustered bar chart. Last one, using the above data, create a 3D clustered column chart that details both the average price and median price for all months. Also, insert a relevant title. So, average and median. That's average and median. Those are my labels. You do need to grab that stuff because it's the only time you don't need to grab that stuff is in a pie chart. But even in a pie chart, it doesn't hurt. It's a 3D clustered column. Alright, fine enough. Give it a better price. I'm not a real stickler. Just not chart title. I like just to say how much of a stickler I'm not. You just called it sales data. I'd be fine with that. You could do better, but I'm fine with that, I guess. And now the last thing I wanted to just kind of show you real quick is chart styles, because this hasn't come up yet. It's easy. Once you've got a chart, those are chart styles. So I'm under chart tools. These things have names. And I think that chart style 9. Yeah, you can see what it does. It made it black and kind of put a gradient back there, changed some of the colors. These are just pre-formatted styles. Some of them are pretty cool. Just a quick way to make your chart look fancy. And right there's the answers, just so you can see what this should look like. Okay, working forward. Oh my gosh, there's a lot here. All right. So now we're looking at filters. This is a huge practice workbook. I know that. In class, if this was a normal class, I don't think I would have even attempted to get through this in the time we have. But like I said, should work out well for you. All right, so this is weird looking data. Hint: don't click on those things. Those are links. They'll take you to a real web page, and you don't want that. All right, so filters. If you want filters, you should head to the Data tab and turn on filters. Simple as that. See, I just toggle them on and off. Notice I'm just clicking anywhere in the data, but don't click there because it's annoying. It's a link. Click over. That's a bad idea to click there. Don't do something like that. Just click in the data. Now we can do something like sort from smallest to largest on the total column. There we go. Easy sort. Display players who scored under 72. So this is a filter problem. It sounds kind of like an if, maybe, but it's display only. Right, that's what you're getting rid of some people. Under 72 in round 2. There's round 2. Less than 72. That kind of looks like it didn't. Oh yeah, this is a weird one. I always forget about this one. It kind of looks like nothing happened. Just almost everyone did score under 72. There was only like 4 or 5 golfers that didn't, so that looks wrong, but it's right. I'm sure it is. Notice these are blue. That means filters, and you do have a filter applied. That's a weird one, but believe it or not, you are done. There was like a few golfers that actually got filtered. All right, filters 2. Display the players with 10 lowest total scores. All right, so step 1, turn on filters. Just click anywhere in the data. We're looking at total scores here, and I want bottom 10. So that's number of filters. I don't see bottom, but I do see top. You can flip that to bottom. There you go. Instructions are gone, but not really a problem because you're done. The way I displayed those again was if you click on it, you can grab one of those sizing handles. You don't need to do that. Don't worry about that so much, but it's another filter. All right, this LPGA sheet is about conditional formatting. So first, color scale to the winnings column. So I'm going to highlight the range. I click at the top. I do Control Shift down arrow. That's my little trick. And we're doing the first color scale. So that's conditional formatting color scales. First one. Highlight the top 5 round 1 scores. So I select round 1, and I want to do the top 5. So that is, you can highlight cell rules. Sorry, it's top bottom. Make that 10 into a 5. Notice I didn't specify a color. I oftentimes don't. And you can see there they are. Notice there's more than 5 because people tied. It's okay. 3 flags, icon set to the total column. So I'm going to select the total column. Head on over to icon sets, and there's 3 flags. That's conditional formatting for you. NASCAR 2, reduce the list to the top 5 drivers based on polls. So this is a filter problem when you're reducing a list or displaying less than what was there. So I click in the data, turn on filters. Polls is that, and so this is also kind of interesting. Sometimes it's an issue, sometimes it's not, but when you turn on filters, sometimes the filters make it hard to read the column headings. So if you want to make something wider, gosh, it's really an alignment issue, so it's kind of hard to get around. I'm telling you, that is the polls column. There's a solution to this, but nothing real valuable. Anyways, top 5. So I head in here. I see top 10, spin that down to top 5. This is one of those examples where my instructions are completely gone. Not a lot I can do about that. And there's also more than 5, but you can see they tied, right? There's a bunch of people tied with 2. And that's why you got more than 5. On to NASCAR 3. So this is a this is going to be an if function. I know that we've spent a lot of this week talking about if functions. They're kind of scary. I don't mean to. Don't expect to see too many of them on your test. Let's just say that. They're just difficult, so we spend some time on them because I think you could use it. All right, so formula, it's going to say winner or loser based on whether the driver has at least one win. Those are wins. So I'm going to place my cursor in I2, head to formulas, head to logical, head to if. I want to look at that cell. If that cell is greater than 0, you could say that, or you could say greater than or equal to 1. I don't care. It's the same thing. Winner, otherwise loser. And that guy is a loser, I guess, if you want to say that. I double click the fill handle, and there's our first winner. You see, he won 1, 1, 1. Looks like it worked. Alright. I scrolled over. I did a big scroll just to kind of see how many things are left. There's not that much left. Payment formulas. This is very, very similar to the thing we did in class on Monday, so I'll do each one of these. There's also answers on the next sheet, but I think it's more valuable for you to see me do it. Alright, so this is under financial. We're doing PMT here. So my rate is here. Since it's monthly, I'm going to divide that by 12. My years is here. Multiply that by 12, and there's my amount. I click OK, and I'm done. Financial. I'm not explaining this. We did it in class the other day a lot. Years times 12, and then my amount is here. I click OK. These ones are different because they're quarterly. So quarterly means there's going to be 4 payments in a year. So financial, PMT, rates here, divided by 4 because it's quarterly. Years multiplied by 4, and there's my amount. And I head over here, go financial, and you see these are fairly difficult in the big scheme of things, but they are repetitive. The point where you realize, oh, this is kind of the same recipe over and over again, that's when you got them. I compare my answers and they're good. Payment function. All right. Gosh, my throat's killing me. So these are the same questions, but right, instead of looking like this, it's just oriented differently. It's literally the same question, but I'll do them. So financial, PMT. I think putting them in a different order helps people. It's monthly. Divide by 12. There's years times 12, and there's my amount. All right, financial, PMT. There's my rate. Divide by 12. There's my years times 12, and there's my amount. You know, probably a benefit of today, some of you are probably going to learn in your lesson about, oh man, YouTube is a good way to learn Excel. YouTube's not a great tool for everything. Like, it's mediocre for Word. I try, but in Excel, it's a great tool because you can sit here and pause on this screen. I can only tell you so much about it, but you can see me doing it here. And you know what? I might make a mistake too because I'm working fast, and I've had better days in my life, so yeah, I could mess something up. I don't mean to, but I wouldn't be shocked. You'll see this video is going to be 20 minutes, and it's hard to get things even uploaded to YouTube that are 20 minutes, so I have to work fast. Alright, and the last one in here is future values. So, this is actually the one new thing I was going to show you. And now, I don't plan on putting this on any of your tests, but it's like, it's one of those things I just want to show it to you. So, if you're good at PMT, then I'm telling you, you're going to be good at future value. Future value is used for, this is really a bonus sheet. So, if you're like running short on time or just don't care, I guess you don't have to watch this. But I figured a lot of you would probably want to know this, so I always put this in here. This is a hard one, kind of. So if a PMT function is for calculating like a monthly payment on a loan, future value is for the opposite of that situation, which is you are saving money at a regular rate. Like I'm saving $275 every other month in some retirement account or some some bank account or something like that, and I want to figure out how much I'm going to have after 20 years or something like that. So it's a similar scenario. You'll see in a minute why I grouped them together. Oh, sorry, I didn't say anything at all there. Financial FV is short for future value. And notice this dialog box is exactly the same as the PMT one. That's why I show it to you, because you know how to do it. I don't need to tell you anything about this if you know how PMTs work. Yeah, there's my rate every other month. So if I'm doing payments every other month, that'd be in there. I'm going to do 6 of them in a year, so I'm going to divide that by 6. That's why I say this is hard, because I change up the periods on you. There's years times 6, and there's my amount. All right, and so if I save $275 every 2 months for 13 years at 5 1/4 interest, I'd end up with $30,578.52. All right, so I'll do a couple more. So I'm going FV again. My rate is here. So I'm making. So in this one, I'm making a contribution every 4 months. So if I'm doing one every 4 months, how many of those am I going to do in a year? Well, the answer is 3. And then I'm going to do years times 3, and then just the amount. And here, bi-monthly, remember this is that term we talked about in class. We're gonna say that means 24. But there's several perfectly reasonable ways to interpret that. Some financial FV. Yeah, right about now I'm feeling like I'm happy that I'm not doing class today, because I don't think I could make it. But this I can do. So, right, my rate divided by 24, years times 24, and then just my amount. 24 because bi-monthly means twice per month. Means I'm going to do 24 of those in a year. You're going to take a quiz today. I'm going to be super lenient with those kind of mistakes, because if I was actually there, I would happily tell you what that means. All right, and the last one is another future value. And you see, like, for me, someone who done these before, I kind of, like, including both the payment sheets, I kind of just did like 12 of these in a row. Like I said, they get real repetitive. So I take my rate, I divide it by 4, because quarterly means 4. Take my years times 4, and then my amount. And we're done. One of the things I like least about canceling classes, students are always worried about me, sending me a bunch of nice emails. You don't need to worry about me. I'm sure I'm gonna be just fine. I'm just not good to do like 5 hours of lecture. I'm sure I'll be good. My family's doing pretty good, so don't worry about me. I think this is actually probably going to work out really, really well for you all. It's just so long as you follow through and watch this video. But if you didn't, I guess you wouldn't hear this anyways. So sorry I can't be there today. There's no way we would have got all this done in like 45 minutes. So I think this is probably going to work out well for a lot of you. So thanks for watching. I will see you next week. Make sure to get that quiz done, for sure.